All right, free radicals, welcome. My name is Dave. This is the Radical Independent. Thanks for being here. All right, so a headline is screaming at me, so I'm going to do a bit of a rant here. I don't like to do rants alone that much anymore on the channel, but folks, if you're still a member of a major political party, meaning the Democrats and Republicans, if you're a Republican, you follow me, you're conservative on moral and social issues, which I am. And you're thinking, how can you be a libertarian? No, libertarian, not libertine. There's a difference. Anyway, this headline should make you run from the Republican Party. And obviously, if you're a Democrat, for whatever reason, you believe in all this stuff and all the other incredibly bad cultural things and monetary policy. Let's get to the headline. This comes from antiwar.com. Our buddy Dave DeCamp, who was on the show last week. Republicans pressure Biden to send more advanced weapons to Ukraine. Republicans are pressuring Biden basically on the eve of the State of the Union to send more advanced weapons to Ukraine. This is according to Defense One, which is a very reputable publication. They were reporting this on Saturday, and they're looking basically to do a two-front campaign. One aspect of the campaign is to pressure Biden through closed-door briefings. The other is to apply public pressure, something Republican leadership has been doing throughout the war. Man. I can't be part of a political party that wants to escalate what could turn into World War III. And if that sounds, what's the word, like hyperbole, that it could turn, why would you even risk that? Well, I could drive the car off the cliff, but, typically we stop right before we go over the cliff. So I'm banking that that's probably what's going to happen. No, this is the dumbest policy. I mean, this could be, you know why this is dumber than Afghanistan and all the other excursions we did? Because you're dealing with the Russian Federation. Okay? Largest landmass, I think, in the world. They have a ton of natural resources. Their economy bounced back after the so-called sanctions. And there are sanctions, but Russia is trading with a lot of countries now in the southern hemisphere. They're partnering. And by the way, there are people going around the world doing actual diplomacy and foreign policy and trying to negotiate trade deals. Our country is just sitting here, and it's ridiculous. And look, I am not a fan of Joe Biden at all. Joe Biden is probably the worst president in the history of the country. But here's a little food for thought. The Republicans are more aggressive on Ukraine than Joe Biden. Some people within Biden's inner circle are moving slowly on a number of things, and the Republicans are getting upset. And most of these Republicans are in districts, of course, with a large military base or some type of military contractor, and this boils down to running the economy via a war buildup, which for some reason this country's been doing since World War II, and it seems to be our golden ticket out of bad economic times. I mean, if that's the way you want to run the free market, then number one, it's not the free market. Number two, you have no morals. You have no compass. But, we know this already. It is a uniparty. It is a big club, and you're not in it. Anyway, let me get on with this article, because there's a lot of good stuff in here. The main demand from the hawkish Republicans is for the U.S. to provide MQ-1C Gray Eagle drones, F-16 fighter jets, and Army tactical missile systems, which have a range of up to 190 miles. Providing Ukraine with either weapon would significantly escalate U.S. military aid and bring the US and Russia closer to a direct clash. We're already clashing. So anyway, the latest weapons package the Biden administration announced, and this is what Biden has already said he'll do, included ground-launched small-diameter bombs. That's the first time that has been approved during the conflict. The GLSDB can hit targets up to 94 miles away, nearly twice the range of the munitions Ukraine has been using with the US-provided HIMARS rocket systems. So they're basically doubling their capability. And it wasn't enough, apparently, to satisfy hawkish Republicans. Senator Roger Wicker, Republican from Mississippi, again, R next to his name. I have repeatedly called for more, better, and faster aid to Ukraine. This is a Republican. People all over the country go to the grocery store and are freaked out each and every day. What happened to America First? Oh, Dave, this guy Wicker, he's not part of Trump's team. No, but Lindsey Graham is. I mean, I don't know, maybe Roger Wicker is a Trump fan. I have no idea. But Wicker goes on. Today's announcement from the president is more of the same, unnecessarily slow walking that has gotten us to this point. He's slow walking it. Well, Biden, he only walks in that way anyway, so I don't know why that's so strange. Senator Wicker goes on. We should be training on the F-16s and the ATACMs. They have asked for these weapons, and we need to transfer them as soon as possible. They should have been training on these weapons long ago. Rep. Michael McCall from Texas, who chairs the House Foreign Affairs Committee, has previously called for Biden to send ATACMs to Ukraine so they could strike Crimea. Oh, that's a delightful idea, which would risk a major escalation of the war. For their part, Ukrainian officials appear to be focusing their effort on securing F-16s or other advanced Western fighter jets. While Republican leadership is pushing for more military aid to Ukraine, there are signs they are thinking about how the war will end. Like Mike Rogers, another Republican from Alabama, who is the head of the House Armed Services Committee, who favors sending the ATACMs. Okay, so all of these Republicans, they're in leadership. This is the result of this amazing new Republican majority. And they are going to spend money that we do not have. They are going to run printing presses. The Federal Reserve is going to, again, finance another war on the military credit card. He goes, this is Rogers, he says that we must give Ukraine everything it needs now. So the conflict ends by this summer? Okay, that'll work. But a lot could happen between now and the summer, and each escalation risk is provoking Moscow. I don't know what that really means, but each escalation risk is provoking Moscow. Well, no, Moscow is already provoked. And a risk of escalation is what you're talking about here. An actual escalation will get lots of people killed and will continue this war indefinitely. And that's what they want. Folks, this isn't what Joe Sixpack, average soccer mom, trying to make ends meet, trying to just do what people do to get by. All right. My little economic speech here is that we don't have money for this, and printing money will create more inflation. Escalating the war will create more inflation. Now, if you've got a job in the military sector, hey, you're cool. You're all set. Republicans acting worse than Democrats on this. And you Trumpers, right? Again, Trump's not in the White House. Trump says this wouldn't have happened on my watch. We don't know that. maybe it wouldn't have happened. But now that it has happened, the solution isn't going into Ukraine hard and taking on the Russians for 20 years. Because Russia, they're in this to win it. They see this as just an endless battle between good and evil at this point. They look at the West as evil. They look at the culture. Did anyone watch the Grammy Awards the other night? Yeah, I'm sure they're looking at that over in Russia and saying, what happened to this country? What is going on? But we need to ban, Russian art and Russian music. Get rid of Tchaikovsky. It's insane what's happening. So they look at it as a spiritual battle, as a moral battle, and battle for their own security. Their security concerns were ignored for 8 years, actually going back to like 2008, 2009. And most people here in the West have no idea. They don't. So when you hit them with this and say, there was this little coup thing that we did back in 2014 in the eastern part of Ukraine, which is mostly ethnic Russian, has been shelled and attacked for like 9 years, and they're escalating those attacks because the whole country as a whole is in a lot of trouble right now. The whole country as a whole. Wasn't the greatest phrase I've ever turned, but in any event, people, you got to get out of these parties, and you've got to contact your local state rep, your local congressperson, whoever, and say, I hope you're not going to be swayed by Lockheed Martin. I hope you're going to worry about the people in your district. And this would go for Democrats, Republicans, anybody who has signed on to this. And it's a huge hyper majority. So, we're all outnumbered. And that's why we sit back and we watch and we shake our heads in disbelief. And we can't imagine how our country has just been hijacked by the military industrial complex. But it has. Medical industrial complex, they're all the same. They're all affiliated. They're all intertwined. DARPA, all of these so-called deep state agencies, they're all in charge of everything. And this is where I almost, just a little bit, because I feel sorry for Biden, almost, just a little bit, because Biden is a useful idiot. He's a tool. He's a blank slate. He'll get up there tonight and say anything he wants. By the way, I'm not hearing anything about the documents anymore. Did the document scare go away? A lot of people more to the right and a little bit more sort of red-pilled or black-pilled saw the whole document thing as a way to get Biden out of there, to get Kamala Harris in, and then Gavin Newsom shows up in a couple of years. Folks, this is why you need things like secession and states' rights, and that's where things are headed. I don't know how else you can look at the situation and go, yeah, we're moving. No, we're not moving in the right direction. We're moving in the worst direction possible. And the Republican Party is worse in some ways here, which really is a head scratcher. People don't want this. The rank and file Republicans, mom and dad and those type of people, they don't want this. There's no way they want this unless they work for a contractor, and then they might want it for that reason. But again, the selfishness and not loving your fellow man, not looking at the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal, that's the printing press, thou shalt not kill. This is all we want to do, is just fight and kill and cause chaos. And you know what? Let Russia and Ukraine work it out. All right? Let them deal with it. And if Russia wins, so be it. We've got a new polar world order, which is way better than the new world order that they want to install and enslave us with. So I'm cool with that. I'm not for war. I wish Putin hadn't gone in there. I really do. But if something similar had happened to the United States, we would have been gangbusters. In fact, we would have already done our shock and awe routine, and you know, who knows how many people would be dead. I'm not saying that there aren't casualties over there, and now that Russia is getting a little more ticked off, I think they're being a little less careful, and a little bit more to the point where they're fighting. So yeah. Anyway, Dave DeCamp, great article over at antiwar.com, came out yesterday. Republicans pressure Biden to be more aggressive and get those weapons to Ukraine. You just can't make this stuff up. This is unbelievable.